Module Objectives. In this module, you will learn about the main safety features of forklifts and the best practices for safely operating them. You will also learn about the importance of checking your forklift's data plate. Lastly, you will cover the actions you should take if your forklift tips over. By the end of this module, you'll be able to 1. Identify the different safety features of a forklift. 2. Explain the importance of safe load handling procedures. 3. Describe how to start and stop a forklift. 4. List safety tips for conducting forklift maneuvers at a busy worksite. And 5. Describe the actions to take during a tip-over incident. Forklift 101. A forklift is the most common type of powered industrial truck that is intended to move, push, pull, lift, and carry material. Like all powered industrial trucks, forklifts can vary in size, load capacity, and their power source. Driving a forklift is different from driving a car because the steering wheels are in the rear as opposed to a car where the front wheels are used for steering. This causes the back end of the forklift to swing, which allows the front of the forklift to guide the load into the correct position. When the back end of the forklift swings during turns, you must remain aware of the surrounding space to avoid collisions. According to the latest data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, an average of 87 workers lose their lives to forklift-related incidents each year. This does not include the 8,674 workers on average who suffered from non-fatal injuries or illnesses because of powered industrial truck-related incidents. The Bureau of Labor Statistics and NIOS state that the most common types of forklift-related injuries occur when workers are struck by, crushed, or pinned by a forklift, the forklift overturns or tips over, and workers fall from a forklift. Forklift safety features. A forklift has several different built-in safety features that you should be aware of. Click each tab to learn more. Backrest extension. The backrest extension helps ensure loads do not fall rearward toward you while you are operating the forklift. Overhead guard. The overhead guard on the forklift is positioned above the operator seat and provides a safe area that protects you from certain accidental impacts. The overhead guard is not designed to protect the operator from a full load impact. Mast. The mast maneuvers the load by lifting, lowering, and positioning. Masts on most newer forklift models allow the operator to travel safely in a forward direction with a better view. Operator restraints. Operator restraints are similar to seatbelts in a car, but in a forklift, the restraints are usually only lap belts with a latch. You must wear the restraint to protect you from the common forklift-related injuries that result when tip-overs throw the operator outside of the protective caging. Forklift data plates. You can find essential information about your forklift on its data plate, such as the rated maximum capacity, the operating weight, the hazard designation, the model and serial numbers, any attachments, and its load capacity chart in the forklift's data plate. Locating the data plate and understanding your forklift's maximum capacity, load center dimensions, and safe load height are essential for proper operation of your forklift. Some manufacturers designate the load capacity chart as a table by giving the maximum weight lifted at different mass stages for different load centers. Other manufacturers provide this information in a chart to highlight the differences between the different factors. Checking your forklift's hazard designation is important before operating because some forklifts are not equipped to operate in certain hazardous areas. For most forklift uses, you will encounter an unclassified designated forklift. OSHA's website has resources that can help you determine if your forklift can operate in a hazardous area. If you are uncertain if you should be operating your forklift in your work area, consult with a supervisor in the area to confirm if it is a safe operating environment for you and your specific forklift. If you are unable to locate or read your forklift data plate, you should find a supervisor to assist you. You should not operate a forklift without knowing the lift's safe capacities or other features. Forklift stability. Imagine a playground teeter-totter that tips back and forth as different weights and momentum are applied to each side. The point or support on which the teeter-totter rests is called a fulcrum. A forklift also has two weights, the load it is carrying and a counterweight. The fulcrum principle explains that in order to maintain stability, the counterweight should always outweigh the load that you are going to carry with the forks. The fulcrum point on your forklift is located at the front axle, and if the center of gravity shifts past that, your forklift will tip. You will learn more about this concept in the stability triangle section. Loads come in various sizes, shapes, and weights. It is unlikely you will always carry or lift perfectly symmetrical loads. Your forklift's capacity and stability are affected by the load size, weight, and dimensions. As an operator, make sure you always consider this when carrying a load. Terrain is an environmental factor to consider when operating your forklift. Uneven terrain can cause the forklift's center of gravity to shift, especially when you are carrying a load with weight. When approaching an incline, be sure to operate your forklift with the load facing the uphill side of the incline. Operating with the load facing downhill is dangerous because it makes the load unstable and may cause you to lose control. Some general best practices to keep your forklift stability under control and avoid collisions, tip-overs, or dropping of loads are: tilt the forks forward only when depositing or lifting a load, not when transporting. Do not tilt the mast backwards towards yourself any farther than necessary to stabilize the load. Drive at safe speeds and slow significantly when turning. Operate at slow speed on wet surfaces to allow safe stopping. Avoid driving over rough terrain with holes or uneven surfaces. Always keep the forks low when traveling. And make sure the load is centered on the forks and is stable. The stability triangle. Most forklifts have a stability triangle, which is a three-point suspension system that supports the forklift. The stability triangle has support at the two front wheels and the center of the rear axle. Naturally, the center of gravity is in the middle of the triangle when you are not carrying a load. In order to safely carry a load, the center of gravity needs to remain within the stability triangle. When you carry a load with weight, the center of gravity begins to move closer towards the front axle of your forklift. This is referred to as the longitudinal stability. As the center of gravity shifts towards the edge of the stability triangle at the front axle, the load you are carrying becomes unsafe to move. When a load creates a center of gravity over the front axle, it can cause your forklift to tip forward, resulting in serious injury to yourself as well as damaging the material you are carrying and your forklift. If the center of gravity shifts outside the stability triangle on the right or left side, your forklift can tip over sideways. For this reason, you need to remain aware of the center of gravity in order to keep it within the side boundaries of your stability triangle. This is referred to as maintaining lateral stability. An additional factor to consider as an operator is the way the load you are carrying can shift due to dynamic stability. Dynamic stability is the idea that braking suddenly, making sharp turns, or driving at fast speeds can all alter the center of gravity. These sudden or fast movements can cause the load to move outside the stability triangle, which may cause your forklift to suddenly tip over, even though the load was once within the stability triangle. The last important aspect of your stability triangle is being aware of the vertical carry height of your load. The higher you carry the load, the more the center of gravity shifts towards the front of the stability triangle. You should never drive your forklift while carrying a load with the forks greater than 6 inches in height off the ground, as this alters your center of gravity, making it unsafe to operate the forklift. Forklift load capacity. A forklift's load capacity describes its weight with a specific load center. Your forklift may be rated to lift 8,000 pounds, but that maximum capacity can be decreased based on the shape of the load that you're carrying. Material with longer load centers cannot be as heavy as shorter material due to the physics involved with forklift counterweights. The maximum capacity of a forklift is affected by high lifting heights, large load centers, added fork attachments, and other factors. Forklift attachments should each have their own manufacturer maximum rated capacity. The maximum load capacity of your forklift must be determined by the lowest maximum capacity of any of the parts of the forklift. Recall this information can be found on the forklift's data plate.